Hi, it's Cheryl with Caribou Country Lifestyle. Today I'm out in my garden. Last year in the fall I had planted some fall and winter cover crops. So what my husband has done is he's built me a little portable 4x8 chicken coop, and we are going to be putting a couple of our chickens in here. It has waterer, and we have the fall winter cover crop to be able to for the chickens to feed on. And then I also have he's built a nesting box in there so that they can still lay their eggs and we can still collect the eggs as well. So we have everything set up. We just have to add some chickens. It's the best way to catch this one.
No, just try and pick one up.
Well, that was relatively easy. Okay, you're gonna help me. Wonderful chicken, you. Half the fun is catching the chicken, I guess. You're gonna be so happy. Look at that, already going to work. Well, I'll catch 2 more and then that'll be good. I think 3 is enough. Well, we don't want a Rhode Island Red because they'll eat something. I don't want to be in cahoots with the rooster either.
You go that way, I'll go this way. Or there's one right on the thing here you can grab.
I know, but
You're not supposed to chase it. You're not supposed to chase it.
easier said than done.
Whoa.
I might need some help. Just don't get the rooster, and I don't want to know. Shoot, shoot, shoot. The rooster's like, hey, what are you doing? Grab one if you can. Black one, preferably. I got a handful of feathers. I was getting to that, and then I lost my grip. And all I got was a handful of feathers. Dang it. from inside the coop.
Yeah.
I'll go on the far side.
Get one of the brooders. Laying down the thing. They're the easiest to get. A brooder in the corner.
There we go. We got 3. And I figured that's all we need, really. So there we go. We have the 3 girls in there. And what they're going to do is they're going to clean up this cover crop that I've planted. Turn it over for me. Add a little bit of fertilizer too. We don't want them to put have too much of their poop in there because it is a hot manure and I don't want it to burn my plants. So in my beds that I did this fall and winter cover crop, it's just a blend of legumes and a fall rye. I'm not exactly sure all of the different varieties that were in this cover crop. I didn't do all of my raised beds with it. I basically did the raised beds that I pulled out plants that were no longer producing anything. So those were the beds that I decided to put this fall and winter cover crop on. And then we had watched a video about someone that had built just a portable chicken coop to put over top of that. I think it was actually one of Justin Rhodes' YouTube videos. And that's what kind of gave us the idea to try that out for ourselves and see how that works. So, bit of an experiment. And I mean, so far so good. Those chickens are going to town on the greens that are growing in that raised bed that we have them in. So I have 4 more raised beds that I've put this cover crop on. And we will probably only have these chickens on these beds for 2 days. I don't want to put them on there any longer because I don't want to have too much chicken poop in these beds. This bed here, I had tomatoes and peppers in last year. So far what I've done getting ready for this growing season moving forward is I have been basically writing out a plan, and I put it on a graph sheet of paper, and I did a plan last year for all my plants and I have everything wrote in there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm taking that plan from last year, and when I go to plant my plants into my raised beds, I'm going to follow a crop that is going to feed on with what was in there the previous year. So this bed that I had tomatoes and peppers in, that one I'm actually going to follow that with a root vegetable, and the part that I'm going to have vining up my panels is going to be cucumbers, but in front of that I'm going to have probably 2 or 3 rows of carrots, different types of carrots. I don't know if you can see here, but I have my garlic is coming up. I planted in here 3 varieties of garlic. I did the Legacy, a German White, and the Chestnut. And with these garlic, I'm planning on putting in plants that can benefit from the garlic for pests. So I'm going to be putting in some of the eggplants, and that will help deter any of the pests. Garlic and leeks and onions are good pest deterrents. This is my strawberry bed, and I am going to be digging up these strawberries and putting them over into my fruit and berry section that I have on the other side of our house as well. I have a lot of strawberry plants in here. This whole bed is just packed full of strawberry plants. Hi, I'm back inside. So it has been a busy day. We got the cover on the chickens over my one raised bed, and I was actually out there raking up just a bunch of, we have a lot of fir trees, so we have a lot of pine cones in our yard, and it's been quite windy, so there's a lot of dead branches. Also, I was pruning a couple of our trees out there, and I was cleaning up some of potentilla shrubs that we have. So after I was done all of that, then I started raking all the pine cones and the branches and everything else that I could pick up, and put that all into a pile. And we want to rent a chipper. So what we'll end up doing is just when we want to take out some poplar trees and some other trees on the property that got quite a curve to them. They're not serving any purpose at all. Oops. So they're not serving any purpose at all, and we want to remove those trees. We'd like to fence in a new area for the pigs also. So it's just nice to be outside and to start actually doing some work outside. And so I was talking about mapping out my garden areas, getting that all figured out, because I want to have everything kind of put on paper as to what vegetables are going to be following the vegetables from my previous year into this year. So I was kind of reading up in a gardening guide, and it was talking about following a previous year's vegetables with this year's vegetables. And so if you've planted things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, collards, then in that bed I would follow it with legumes, which would be the beans and the peas. And where I planted the beans and the peas, I would follow those with eggplant, peppers, potatoes, or tomatoes. Now, I do not plan on planting any potatoes in my raised beds. I do plan on planting those in the ground. After anything that you planted, your eggplants, peppers, and tomatoes, the previous year you would follow that with a root crop, which would be your beets, carrots, radishes, and rutabagas or turnips. And so I'm planning on following a lot of this method, and then I will see how that goes as well. I thought, well, that's my first year, was last year in my raised beds. And I just think I'd like to have some type of a guide or a plan to follow, and that's the type of person I am. I like to read up, I like to follow certain guides and plans. It's like when I do a recipe. There are some recipes that I can, you know, fly by the seat of my pants, but I am a recipe follower. I will, if I don't have a certain ingredient in the recipe, I will exchange it for something else. I also do a lot of that because I do a lot of gluten-free, dairy-free cooking. And if I'm following a recipe and it calls for anything that's with dairy or wheat or gluten, I will try to exchange it for a gluten-free, dairy-free substitution, because my son is gluten and dairy free, and that is, we decided to have him follow that diet because he has autism, and it helps to reduce some of the behaviors, just more or less physical, and I mean, sometimes it can be aggressive behaviors, but for him, it's very, like he's not really that aggressive, but he comes across to be aggressive. But if you got to know him, he's kind of a pushover, actually. He's all talk, I guess is how I would put it. But anyways, that, moving on, that is the type of person that I am. Is I like to have some kind of a structured plan to follow. And so right now I am just mapping everything out on a piece of graph paper, and I'm making notes, and I'm putting in where I want to put my changes in from what I did from last year to this year. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So far, it seems like it'll work, and yeah, we'll just have to see how this 2022 growing season goes with these different implements. So anyways, thanks for joining me. It's been a beautiful April the 23rd day, and it's pretty nice out there. 16 degrees out today. So that's awesome. I love spring, summer, and fall. Not so much the winter. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Throw in a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you again. Bye for now.